oh, they've got different accessories when you put on. Oh, that's very clever. I've never seen that. I don't think I've seen that before. Hello, goodbye, and hello again. Welcome back to Drifter Carbon and another Minecraft texture pack review. Today we're taking a look at the texture pack that comes in the Oneblock Realism Mash-up pack by Honeyfrost. It is 480 Minecraft coins and 51 megabytes. Let's scroll down here and look at the skins real quick. So as you can see, this pack comes with 4 skins, and I think that they look pretty good. I could see somebody using those. Let's go ahead and take a look at the texture pack. All right, here we are on the texture pack review world. As you can see, the trial chamber stuff is custom, but the pale garden stuff is not. So that tells us when this was last updated. I did briefly play the world that comes with this texture pack, and it seems fine. It seemed fun enough, you know. I've only played one other Oneblock pack before, but this one seemed to be quality enough. Let's look at the textures. So as you can see, for some reason, some of the baby trees are like animated to blow in the wind, but most of them aren't. It's just got a little bit strange, but the vines also seem to have a little animation to them. Some interesting tree trunks here, though. I like the look of those. There's your mushrooms. The mushrooms are expanding again. Here's the pitcher plant and some of the other crops. I think that these look good. They did a good job with the foliage. There's all the flowers. Interesting looking drip leaf there. And that's what the bee looks like when it's got pollen on it. Here's the composter. As I said, pale garden stuff is too new. But I like the way that the trees look. Here's logs and planks, starting with the logs. As I said, there's all the different wood types next to each other. They actually have a few different designs here. It's not all just a color swap. And the planks, there's like one kind of plank other than the bamboo. Doesn't look like there's variations within each plank type. Here's dirt, sand, gravel, and moss. Some interesting earthy textures there. The suspicious sand and suspicious gravel, you can definitely tell which one's suspicious. That's very easy to tell, which is good. There's your sandstone. Here's stone and stuff. Yeah, I like the rock and the stone textures in this pack. I think that those look nice. Polished stone, cobblestones. Here's bricks. Kind of an interesting brick texture there. Stone, bricks, blocks, etc. Again, these look pretty good. I think you could build stuff with these. Here's the glass. We've got the clear glass is just clear, and everything else has kind of this grid pattern to it. But nice and easy to see through them. Oh, except for the stained glass one is just dark. There's wool. Concrete powder has kind of a nice texture to it. Here's concrete. It's got a little bit of a texture. The terracotta has a nice grit to it as well. That's you know, that's fun. It's not just a colored block. It's actually got a texture. Glazed terracotta. Some good designs, I'd say, on the glazed terracotta. A little more detailed than usual, and got some recognizable motifs, but some of it's more original as well. Here's the different ores. I think you could tell the difference between the ore and the regular stone when you're mining. Should be pretty easy to find them. There's the nether ore and the deep slate ore. There's not variations on the ores either. I don't think there's any variations in this pack. The deep slate ore, you know, you might, I think you'd have an easy enough time finding them. nice and readable. The amethyst, random lonely magma block. It does have a little bit of animation, just the lava moving around in the cracks. You can tell the difference between the wet and the dry sponge. Here's the light sources. They do have some a nice soul torch there. That's kind of fun. I like the detail work on that. Looks different from the regular torch. There's the bulbs. The campfires are kind of cool too. I like the fire on it in particular. Here's miscellaneous light sources. Kind of a very sinister carved pumpkin and jack-o'-lantern in this pack. Here's the signs. Yeah, these are good signs. Nice and readable. You know, there's nothing there that's going to conflict with the text on the sign. But it's got a decent enough detail. Hanging signs. Here's a monster spawner. It's got a bat, like a bat carrying a bell, it looks like. Fences and gates. Just looks like the wood type, of course. There's the walls in the background there. Dried kelp block. Kind of has some diagonal lines in there instead of just straight lines. Diamond, lapis, gold, emerald, and redstone blocks look quite nice in this pack. I feel like you could build with those. Iron block. Raw copper, gold, and iron. Here's a lodestone. Prismarine. All these blocks are pretty easily identifiable as what they are, but they have a decent level of detail. The slime block. The honey. Hay bale. Bone block. Here's quartz. I do like the look of that one. Copper. Again, it looks a lot of these blocks look similar to default, just with like an extra level of texturing and detail to it. There's the ladder. Here's the doors. Nice to see doors with lots of doors with windows. Pretty decent doors. Nothing too fancy or too crazy, but you know, good doors. Trapdoors seem plenty usable. Here's bookcases. There's only one kind of bookcase, of course. Let's look at this. That's what the book looks like. Here is the enchanting table. You can see that I will comment that about the UI at this point because we're seeing it here. The menus and stuff have this nice texture to the squares. And just kind of I guess it's like a woody tone to it. So I do like the item bar at the bottom too. Be sure to check that out. That's pretty cool. Go ahead and put this back in my hand, I guess. Set off a firework while I'm thinking about it. That's what the particles on the firework look like. Nothing crazy with the snowball. There's the wind charge. Here we have the beds. Looks like there's one pattern for the beds, but they look pretty good for a basic bed. I do prefer when beds have like different bedspreads and stuff, but different sheets. Here's crafting tables and villager job tables. Nice and easy to tell which one's which. There's the crafter in the background there. Here's furnaces. Yeah, these all look pretty good. That looks like a stove, you know. You could see yourself putting a pot on that or something and having a like looking like you got something cooking on top of the stove. Anvils and grindstone. You can definitely tell how damaged your anvil is very easily. Quite nice. Here's cauldrons. That's what the potion looks like. That one's the lava. Here's the chests. The chests have a more detail than usual. You can definitely tell which one is trapped, though. A nice in chest there as well. Very ornately decorated. Nice barrel. Here's jukebox and note block. That's what the notes look like. The empty armor stand has kind of it's like it's part of its metal or something. which is interesting. It's nice when somebody does a little extra with those. Here's the bell. That's what the beam on the beacon looks like. And the iron bars. Let's look at the paintings. These are all custom because it's been updated recently enough. Dennis is probably not custom, but the rest of these look good. Nice. They've got frames on them, which I do prefer, and some decent pixel art here. Pretty high resolution for a Minecraft painting. I like these. Those are good, and there's a nice variety of them as well. They're all paintings. There's no like wall hangings or anything, but for paintings they're quite nice. Here's the custom rails. Things in mine carts. We will see the TNT at the very end there. Greg looks quite shocked to see us today. Here's redstone and stuff. Interesting design they've gone for it with the redstone, where there's like some aspects that are thick and some that are thin. Not sure what's going on there, but you know, the redstone things seem to be reminiscent of the furnace that we saw before. But definitely, you can definitely tell which piston is sticky. Some very ornate pottery here. I do like what they've done with this. Pretty cute. I like it. Here's scaffolding. That's what the banners look like. Here's boats. Kind of a nice looking boat. You know, there's one design for the boats, but other than the bamboo boat, of course. But it looks pretty good. Here's the tuff. The trial spawner and the vault. It does open its mouth when you get close to it. Here's resin, but that's too new. That's what the target looks like. Here are the mob heads. That's the dragon egg. Looks very scaly. Here's dripstone. That's what the lightning rod and the chain look like. There's the heavy core and the conduit, and the TNT just has this kind of, I guess it looks like C4. Yeah, it's got labeled as C4. So that's kind of a different approach than usual. Here's your sea pickles and your seagrass and seaweed, your kelp. Here's the dead coral and the live coral. I think the coral looked nice in this pack. And that was all of the blocks. Well, I think they did a good job with the blocks. They're not necessarily the most realistic realism pack that I've seen, but I think that they all have a nice aesthetic to them. Let's go check out the items. You can also see that the sky has a nice design to it. Very subtle, like, you know, like painted on clouds and stuff. And the sun has those lens flare effects on it, which is kind of cool. One of the better looking suns, I'd say, that we've seen. Here's the armor. As you can see, there's one design for the weapons, for the swords. But the armor is all custom, and I think these look nice. You know, you don't expect a texture pack that's in a mashup pack to be particularly special these days, but I think that they did a good job with the different armors here. I mean, you don't see a lot of nice looking armor in mashup packs these days. Here's what the elytra looks like. It's kind of batwing like almost, or glider like. There's the shield. That's the turtle helm. The trident. The bow is very angular. And that's the mace. Let's look at armor trims. These are amethyst armor trims on iron armor. They do have custom trims here, as you can see. Interesting. I think that a different trim would show up better on the iron armor in this pack. But I didn't want to completely redo my trims just for this pack. But I think that those look nice. Here's what the backs of them look like. They do have some of the designs show up better on the back than they do on the front, actually. Pretty cool. Not everybody bothers to do custom trims. Here's weapons and tools. As I said, there's one design for each, but I think that they look pretty good. The shovel seems a little small, if you ask me, but the rest of these look pretty good. There's the respawn compass and the regular compass and the clock. Just kind of higher detail versions of the default designs. There's the horn and the I started to call it goat armor. That would be interesting. Horse armor. Here's your potions. Oh, we got different designs for the potions. That's interesting. They're very different from each other instead of just being slight modifications of each other. Here's your food. I guess this is one of the more realistic elements of the pack. It is a realism pack, and I think that the food items look pretty good. Look pretty realistic. I mean, it's still got that little bit of a cartoony pixel art style to it. It's not like hyper realistic, but it doesn't have to be. Here's the music discs. Things in buckets. Here's minerals. Yeah, I think that the items look pretty good. And you can definitely tell what all of them are. Readability is a big part of a texture pack, so it's nice to see a pack that makes things look stylized, but still very easily identifiable. Let's go check out the mobs. First, here's what a couch-ray bench would look like. Here's a water cooler. This is what the Nether portal looks like. It's got kind of a fun, almost looks like you're looking at the eye of a storm kind of a design going on it. Nice swirlies there. Here's the chickens. As you can see, the cold and warm variants are not custom because this was not updated that recently. Here's bees. Oh, everything just kind of blipped out of existence for half a frame there. There's the cow. The cow just looks default though, or it's very similar to default. Here's the pig, but the chickens look custom, so not sure what's going on there. Here's the sheep again with their wide eyes. Here's the wolf and wolf armor. The polar bear. They've got like blushing cheeks. Got kind of that motif going on some of these that you would see in a cute pack, cute category pack. The ocelot looks pretty good. Here's the different cats. Yeah, these are cute cats. There's the mushroom. Looks pretty default just with the custom mushrooms. The bat has big eyes. All the better to see you with, I suppose. Here's the parrots. Yeah, the parrots look pretty good. Didn't do anything wildly different with them, but you can see their feather textures and stuff. Here's the bunnies. The rabbits also have little blushy cheeks. Oh, kind of a very detailed llama face here with like big eyelashes. Oh, it's like their eyelashes are dyed according to what they've got different accessories when you put on. Oh, that's very clever. I've never seen that. I don't think I've seen that before. Somebody putting like different facial accessories on the different llamas with different colored blankets on them. So they're not just blankets, it's whole little outfits. That's very cute. I like that. Here's the horses. Nice detailed horses. Horses and horse armor. Let's see what those look like. Here's the donkey and the mule. And the skeleton horse. Here's the zombie horse. Jump in with the tropical fish so we can get a better look at them. Look pretty good. The cod. Nice fishy fish in this pack. Pufferfish. Oh, nope. We want to go down into the pufferfish tank. Very detailed faces on them, and they've got these little puckered mouths. Here's the salmon. And the dolphin. Yeah, pretty good dolphin. The sea turtle. Here we have the pandas. Hold on, which one of these is the sick panda? That's the sick panda. He's got a little bit of something dripping out of his mouth. Here's the fox. The fox has a lot less white than I'm used to. The creeper. Just kind of like a polished stone, almost like marbly creeper. The Enderman, we're going to have to go out here and find one. Where are you, Enderman? There you are. Come here. That's what the Enderman looks like. He's pretty standard other than his eyes. Silverfish has more black than usual on it. It's got a little face on it, and it's blushing. I was not expecting blushing to be such a common motif in this pack. Oh, the skeletons have like just holes where their eyes would be. That's interesting. I guess that makes sense. You know, they shouldn't have eyeballs, right? Here's the wither skeleton and the stray. That's what the slime look like. They look like the slime block. Spider and cave spider. Similar to the default designs, just more of a texture to them. These zombies have red eyes. That's interesting. But it's kind of a similar motif to the vanilla zombies otherwise. Similar outfits. Here's the bogged with one red eye and one white eye. The husk, of course, is looking the other way. There you go. That's what they look like. The drowned. Face over this way, guys. Very sad looking drowned in this pack. Squid and glow squid. Interesting. I like the pattern on the legs on the glow squid there. Here's the witch. Another blushing mob. Here's the guardian and elder guardian. Let's spawn in an endermite. Oh, it's got kind of a different design to it. That's interesting. It's got a stripe down its back. I kind of like that. That's a nice looking endermite. Here's the magma cube. Just looks kind of like a magma cube, like what you'd expect. The strider. There you go. That's what they look like. Zombified hoglin, the zoglin, in other words. Looks very gory. The zombie piglin. And zombie piglin brute. The goat, another blushing mob. The axolotl. Kind of an interesting looking axolotl, if I do say so myself. Some of them appear to be blushing, some of them less so. Here's the allay. Interesting wings on the allay. I like that. That's a nice design on the allay. The frog. I'm glad I added more frogs at some point because it's easier to see them when they're not in the water. Speaking of which, I'm gonna have to spawn in a trading, wandering trader. Get out your llamas. That's what the wandering trader looks like, and the llamas the trader's llamas have kind of bead face gear. Not sure how best to describe that. Here's the camel. The blaze. Much more of a normal eyes on the blaze today. Here's the ghast. Face over this way, ghast. We'll get a better look at you in the Nether. But oh, hello. Was not expecting that face. These guys are too new. There's the Shulker. The Vindicator. Interesting. They're reminiscent of Default. Here's the villagers. There's only one villager face, and they've got their usual accessories. You know, for a classic style villager, I guess these look pretty good. I prefer when somebody does something a little more crazy with the villagers, but here's the zombie villagers, very similar to the regular villagers. The Phantom. Here's the Pillager and the Ravager. Nice texture work on the mobs. The Iron Golem and Damaged Iron Golem. Can definitely tell how damaged he is. Snow Golem and Snow Golem with its pumpkin carved off. He looks kind of sad with those blushy cheeks. The Sniffer. Come on, guys. Be reasonable here. We'd like to see your faces. That's what the Sniffer looks like. And the Armadillo. The Armadillo shoots look kind of different in this pack, too. Here's, whoa, check out this Warden, man. That's pretty gnarly. Pretty cool looking Warden. I think so, anyway. Very horrific. Here's the Breeze. And the Wither. And the Creaking is too new. I kind of like the mobs in this pack. Let's go check out the Nether. Here we are in the Nether. Kind of a interesting pattern here. There's kind of a different vibe to the Nether, I'd say. Here's the regular non-zombified hoglins. Very wrinkly pig dudes. Interesting looking respawn anchor, I'd say. I kind of like that. Very mystical. Here's the piglins. As you can see, there's the piglin brute looks different from the regular piglin, but they're just kind of higher detailed versions of the default designs. Fly out this way. Head over to another biome here. There's the ghast again. Fly out towards this other biome. Nether is very foggy in this pack. Dense fog. Here's what the trees in the Nether look like. And the vines and stuff. I think this biome looks pretty cool. Okay, let's go check out the stronghold below. Here we are in the stronghold below template world. Cold pig and cold cow are too new. Kind of an interesting looking ice block here. I like that. Let's go ahead and take a look around. Oh, here's what the nighttime sky looks like and the moon. Kind of a fun moon. I think the sun was better, but still kind of cute. Here's what villager houses look like. That's the inside of that one. You know, I show off the villager houses most of the time just because, you know, you might be building something similar and you're going to be seeing villager houses a lot when dealing with villagers. Fly out this way. We can look at the cobweb. There you go. Went for a nice thin cobweb. Here's what a ruined portal looks like. I think that the crying obsidian looks good with the regular obsidian. Fly back towards the stronghold. But you can see this is what the frozen water and the ice look like. Go on and jump on in the stronghold here in a sec. Let's see if I can land in there, shall we? I did it. Yay! There we go. Stronghold looks pretty good. I think that the mossy bricks look good with the regular bricks. Makes for a nice overall aesthetic, and the iron bars look good too. Let's go ahead and throw down a bottle of enchanting. That's what those particles look like. And the experience orbs are very small in this pack. Drink a potion of strength so we can see those swirlies. Pretty much the default swirlies. Did not change the goat horn in any way. Not texture-wise, but sound-wise. Crossbow looks quite different, actually. It's kind of interesting. Sword looks good in your hand. No complaints there. Go ahead and use this on the portal. There you go. They went with the like Starry Night Sky style end portal. Lots of little stars. Classic black static void in the end. Here's a better look at the eyes on the Endermen. That's what they look like. And we'll fly over here for the end crystal. That's what that looks like. So, last but not least, the Ender Dragon. Okay, going for a classic style. Didn't change it dramatically, but it does have a nice texture to it. So yeah, I was actually really impressed with this pack. Yeah, the blocks were very identifiable and had some nice details. It's the default style, but with more detail and more texture to a lot of the blocks. And I felt it was all very usable. You could probably transition from a vanilla a world using the vanilla texture pack into using this texture pack, and things would still look pretty similar. So you know you're not going to have any translation issues there. As far as the items go, I thought that the decorative armor was quite well done, and very readable items, and nice pixel art on the items. As far as the mobs go, they are very similar to default vanilla style, but with more detail, similar to the blocks. In particular, I like the allay wings and the things that they did with the llamas by having them have little glasses and accessories and stuff, depending on the color of blanket that you have on your llama. Just adds a little extra personalization. And it had a pretty cool looking warden too. The mobs had kind of a mix of styles going on, a mix of accents that you would expect from different styles of texture packs all in one. And the UI is quite nice as well. I would like a little more contrast maybe on the item bar between the highlighted item and the non-highlighted item, but they're nice and detailed, and I did like the item frame textures on the slots on the menu. Overall, just a nice looking UI. So yeah, I'm gonna give this like a 4.7. It doesn't do anything terribly crazy or out of the ordinary with any of its textures, but I think if you're interested in a texture pack that stays pretty close to the vanilla style while making things more detailed and stuff, then you really can't go wrong with this, especially since it's 480 Minecraft coins and comes with a world that you can play, you know, a one block mode in. So that's really the main reason people are going to be buying the pack. But I think you could certainly get some real enjoyment out of the texture pack by itself. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you on the next one. Oh, and comment down below what you thought of the pack. See you later. Peace.